And if I push live, are you facing yours or are you facing theirs?
What was that?
I'm just going to hit live.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Heather Prestanski, and I'm here with the lovely Stephanie Nikolic and the beautiful Laura Wright. So excited to be here. And this is our first episode of Monumental Millionaire. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about how this came about. So, Laura and I we were on a coaching call. Laura was my sales coach for a little while, and we were discussing, we were nearing the end of our work together, and we were kind of discussing what was next. And she said, you should do a summit. I can see you doing a summit. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll do it, And then we just sort of got to brainstorming, and this idea came about of how when you have an executive roundtable, some of the really cool things that happen, and how some of the best ideas really come forth when it's completely unscripted and when you have brilliant entrepreneurs at the table. And so we said, we're going to have something whereby it is, 4 awesome entrepreneurs, 4 amazing different ways of building a business, because that's a really big thing for me, that there's so many different ways to build a business, and that we would just discuss it. And so our first guest had a bit of an emergency. She had to pop out last minute, but I've got these wonderful ladies here. We're going to kick it off, and we still have that guest topic. So the way that Monumental Millionaire works is that each and every week we have a new guest on here live, and they bring the topic. None of us know what that topic is. So it's completely unscripted, and we get to kind of just hang out, have fun, discuss things in a way that we would if we were just sitting out having coffee, chilling with friends. And I know some brilliant things are going to come of it. So I'm going to actually kick it on over to you ladies so you guys can share your stories and let everybody know who you are and what you do. So Laura, maybe I'll start with you, since I was just sort of talking about how this came about.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. And I just have to say a huge thank you, because these are like those moments of brilliance where you just start having a little tiny idea. And I think what happens is most entrepreneurs get excited and then things start happening. And one of the things, Heather, that you do so brilliantly is you get an idea and then you make it happen. And then you get an idea and then you make it happen. So thank you for doing that. But I'll just give myself a little hello and welcome. I'm excited and honored to be with everybody here. I'm Laura Wright. I'm all things epic at sales. And what I love to do is help women make just a ton more money, but not just making more money, but doing sales in a way that feels really great. Because I think if you don't feel good about doing it, you won't actually do it, and then you don't get your results. And what I really want is for everyone to enjoy that process of sales, because it doesn't have to be slimy and yucky. It can just feel really freaking awesome, but also be super effective. So I love to help people uncover their way to sell. And my favorite thing in the world is watching entrepreneurs like, Heather and all my amazing clients, who they get the little germ of an idea and then they create a program or a product or something. And then a couple months later, or even sometimes a few days later, they're like, it happened, it's sold out, or someone bought my big package. And I just love seeing things come to life. So I'm excited to be a part of this. I'm excited to share the stage with everybody who's here, the virtual stage. But this is exciting, and I'm ready to bring my considerable years of experience. I realize I need to update my bio. I've been saying 18. I think it's more like 20-something years of experience doing sales. But I really just want to bring this forward so everyone who has some big missions in this world, some big impact they want to make, that you can just go through sales processes with ease and with flow. So thanks, Heather.
Awesome. So happy to have you here. And like you said, you really do make things happen, like on a really big scale. And Laura's a really great specialist at helping you find your way of selling. And like I said, I love that, all of us have built our businesses completely different ways, really completely differently. And so that is super important. I mean, when we went through sort of this whirlwind process and finally landed on something that was totally uniquely me. So that was really cool. So Stephanie, welcome. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks for having me here. I'm super excited. I'm going for the au naturel look as I'm headed out straight to the airport after this. I'm actually moving to Miami today, so that's pretty exciting. I'm Stephanie Niklich. I'm a results revolutionary sales funnel success strategist. What does that mean? I help people create basically long-term sustainable and scalable success without sacrifice. I work with a lot of moms all over the world, a lot of women all over the world that really, they've reached that level of success in their businesses and they love what they're doing to some respect, but they're starting to be resentful because they have absolutely no time and no freedom. They can't necessarily walk away from their desk or their laptop or their cell phone. It's all day, every day. And I'm a new mommy. I have an almost 6-month-old baby girl who rocks my world. And she has forced me to think differently in a lot of ways in my life. And I am fully present for her as a result of the way that I've structured my business. So sales funnels and passive revenue are my jam. They're my everyday. I eat, sleep, and breathe them. They're not scary. They're extremely lucrative when you're building a scalable business model. And I show people how they can create any life they want, any business they want, they dream of, without truly having to sacrifice anything. Because if life's about enjoying it, and if you don't have time to spend with your loved ones and your family and your friends and travel or do whatever is important to you, then why are we doing this in the first place?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I posted something yesterday because, I'd been seeing a lot in my feed and it was really exhausting me around how, you don't need to take a day off. You need to keep hustling and all, there's a lot of talk around that these days. And, I took yesterday off. It was a Canadian holiday up here. And so I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to, drink in my garden. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to relax. I'm going to take my dog to the park. I'm going to have friends over. And that's what life is all about. So I'm super excited to have you here and that you really do help people find this way of creating this passive income. I know that you've done it for yourself. You've done it in a really big way, which is really super cool. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about me and then we'll kind of kick on into some of the content here. I've got some good juicy stuff. So I'm Heather Prestanski and I am a coach, really and simply to put it that way. Now, a little bit different than a lot of the coaches that you see online in that I'm not a prescriptive coach. So you don't come to me with a problem and then we solve it. What my job is to really expand your world. And so I specialize in helping people who have already created some sort of success in their lives, but they know that there's something out there that's bigger. They know that there's something out there that they're meant to do. And we really look to unlock that from within them and to create and really start to move forward. So it's a lot of the mindset work, but we also work on a lot of the strategy. We work on a lot of the skill set and we kind of really start to up-level everything in your life and everything that you do. And so my clients don't need me. A lot of people go to a coach because they need a coach. One of the criteria for somebody to work with me is that you don't need me. That's really all that I work with because we're really taking you from this point where you've created something super special and we're just going to take it even further and do some, I like to call them the impossible. We like to create the impossible. So super excited to have you ladies. And I'm going to hop right into then the topic that that Kat has sort of brought forward. And that is she who creates more wins. And so, yeah. And so I wanted to sort of hop into this because, I saw the topic and I was like, oh, it's interesting. I really, I think it'll be really cool for us to talk about. So, first thoughts when you hear that, she who creates more wins, I saw some big reactions from both of you.
It's funny because part of me is like, that sounds like a lot of work. And then I realized that I try to do a challenge or a webinar or both or put out some PDF or some, content, like at least once or twice a month. So maybe I'm actually doing that. But I think there's something to be said about content versus insight. And I think there's a difference between just being a churn in a generation versus what you're giving. And then just something else popped into my brain about how you got to do what works for you. So maybe she who creates the most content wins is perfect for Kat and maybe some of her people, and maybe it's different for other people, but that was my first initial thought.
Yeah.
I create a shit ton of stuff on a regular basis. All right. Like, let's just be real. Like, that's why probably I made a face like, oh my God, yeah. Is this me? Is this not me? I don't know. I don't necessarily know that any one of us falls into a given basket. But I do believe that if something comes into your mind that you feel really strongly about, that it's important to bring that out to the world and share it with people. I know Kat does a really good job of bringing content forth, like in her posts or whatever. And we have different ways of distributing things that work for us and work for our mission and our brand. Just to give you like a little bit of details about what I mean for that. So like I'm a sales funnels chick, right? So I'm always looking at, well, okay, this is the end goal and what's going to make the biggest impact on my audience in order to show them where I want them to go and how can I impact them the most in their lives and businesses. So yeah, I'm currently working on 5 new sales funnels. I'm like, whoa, most people will be like, whoa, that's overwhelming. That's really not. And also, I mean, I have the luxury of having a team now that does everything for me. So I come up with these great ideas. I contribute to the content. I stay in my lane. I only focus on what I'm really great at. And then I hand all the parts and pieces off to somebody else and they bring it to life. Yeah. So there's a lot to be said about that because I feel like, especially if you're looking to grow a business pretty quickly, if you're looking to reach that next level of success, then you have to be willing to give away some things that you know are not supporting you. So if the actual creation of the content is not your thing, but you really love to deliver like a video or a couple points, talking points, then hand it off to the next person to help you with that, because I do believe that who creates the most wins. Not necessarily just content, but like just when we are in our zone of genius and we are in that mode of creation, like brilliance happens, magic happens, and it just flows out of us so effortlessly that there's no timeline, there's no, we must do things a certain way, and it works how it's supposed to work for us.
Yeah. I love that you just said that, because there's a thing I love to say that says, the thing must be done, but it doesn't have to be done by you. And I think you just put into the most important thing of all is like, you talk about sales funnels and leverage. And so literally what you're saying is leverage your content even. And I remember my husband had said something to me because, we both do, I think, a similar thing with sales, and writing sales pages and doing all that's my brilliance. And I got stuck and I couldn't write an important sales page for myself. And I spent probably like 3 weeks like struggling on it. And he just said, can't you hire someone to do that? I'm like, why didn't I think of that? So I love that you just said, like, you can literally hire out every single piece that is not your absolute brilliance. And even if it is your brilliance, if you need additional support, let yourself get leveraged with brilliant team members.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also take a piece of content and kind of like rejig it, so to speak, to fit in different outlets. So like if I did a webinar training and that training was really super popular, so now we're going to take it and take some of the powerful points and make a really powerful article with it, and then like lead them up to the next step or a checklist or something that really coordinates with it. So we're giving them what they want, but we're giving it to them in different outlets. But essentially it's the same stuff that I talk about regularly. It's just positioned a little bit differently. And so you can those who like to read articles are going to read the article, but those who like to watch trainings are going to watch the training, and those who want to have a hands-on checklist are going to have the ability to do that. So you're actually like reaching your market in different ways, even though it's similar to, your topic of conversation, which I think is really important.
Yeah. I love that you said that. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to keep talking.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of go back and touch on something that Laura said right in the very beginning. And something that really popped into my head right away was that, is it about content or is it about impact, right? Because there's an awful lot of people who churn out a whole ton of content, but it's sort of like you can tell which book they've just been reading because they're just essentially recycling whatever they just read and spitting that back out into the world. Or you can tell which coach they've been working with because they essentially become that person and they start almost mimicking the copy or the content that person starts putting out. And so, I think it's really important as well to find your own voice and to find your own impact and to consider, what is and it doesn't even have to be an original idea, but it can be in a way, your own original way of presenting the idea, right? And of saying, you know, these are sort of my thoughts on it. This is sort of my spin on it, and putting it out into the world that way. So always considering the impact. You know, whenever I look at my bank account and I'm like, you know, and kind of going, oh, this isn't where I want it to be, I always step back and I consider how much of an impact have I been creating, right? And it's not about how many different people that I've been reaching out to or anything like that. It's like, how much of an impact have I been creating? Whenever somebody says no to me on a sales call, I go, oh, I didn't make a big enough impact with them here in this moment to really allow them to open up to see that there is value in us working together. And so I think that all flies back into the content as well, in that, you know, if you're creating maybe less content, but it has a greater impact, your voice will be heard and it will carry.
I think the biggest thing behind that is just to be you, right? Like, oh my God, stop trying to be everybody else. Like, that's so boring and so hard to wake up and try to be somebody else, you know? The reason why people really, you know, the people that become the most successful, the reason why people resonate with them and fall in love with them or even hate them, you know, is because they are themselves and they're unapologetically who they are and they're not trying to be somebody else. So I think there's something that really needs to be said about that in this industry. It's not about reading the book and becoming the book. It's not about working with the coach and becoming the coach. It's about making everything that you touch your own, and owning it in a way that's really authentic to you. And not, you know, I think when I started off as a business owner, I tried to hide behind my journey because I really wasn't proud of it. You know, I wasn't where I wanted to be. And we are so harsh on ourselves. And it's like, who's to determine where I'm supposed to be at that point in time? I was actually exactly where I was supposed to be at that time, you know, but we're such harsh critics of ourselves when really, like, nobody else is looking at us like that. And once I got real with it, I was like, yeah, shit. Oh my God. I was $100,000 worth of debt, but sharing that story offered light to somebody else that wasn't a situation that they were hiding behind. And once they realized I'm not alone, that there are other people in the world that are in debt, that doesn't make them a bad person, then they were able to make shifts and changes in their life too. And I think that's really important to say because, like, authenticity, it's powerful, and it's probably one of the most important things that you can do.
Also, you don't have to worry about what to say. Like, I know that at one of the points in my journey with my business, I was kind of stuck and wasn't sure. And it's because I was looking outside trying to figure out what to do. And the moment I just stopped and let that go, and I just started speaking what I wanted to say, like, content just flows to me. Like, I never think, oh, what should I say today, or what should I write, or anything. It just, when you're just being completely you don't have to worry. And I think there's another thing that I wish there was something I could have done back in like 2007, 2008 when I got online. There's a lot of people that are out there known right now who have beautiful, gorgeous brands, like super flash, multi-million-dollar businesses. I was actually behind the scenes in many of their businesses. But when they got started, I mean, I wish I could have saved some of their PDFs. They look terrible. Like clip art and like logos that didn't match. And I say that only to say, wherever you are, start where you are. You can polish it and make it beautiful as you get yourself going. But if you're waiting and you want to be looking exactly like Stephanie's stuff is gorgeous. I mean, Heather, your stuff is gorgeous. If I waited to make all my stuff gorgeous the first time before I put it out, I could probably never get it out. So I would say get stuff out where you are and polish as you go, or claim what your brand is as you go, but get started.
Yeah. Well, your brand will evolve, right? Like it's you know, it's an evolution. Any of us, we're growing, we're changing every single day. That we're finding ourselves. We're finding out who we are more and more. We're finding what we love to do and what we really don't like to do, and we're growing and we're expanding. And it's an evolution of a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. You know, it's going to continue to happen as we're in business. I do believe, although I'm a sales funnels chick, clearly, right? So I do believe that it is important, especially if you're putting out an opt-in, that you do spend a little time polishing up. That's my personal opinion.
Oh, yes, yeah. Cracking up on purpose. I just meant, yeah, put your best foot forward, but don't worry about being at somebody else's level. Be where you are.
Well, yeah, I mean, perfectionism like that all sucks. That's like not real. Like, who's perfect? Look at me right now. I have no makeup on. See, like I'm like looking crazy, but I'm here.
Gorgeous. Like I'm sure. She's like,
here.
Like
showing up.
But I'm here. And that's all that matters. I woke up like this. No, not because I love you, but because I don't love you, because I thought it was more important that I was here and I was present. And I know that I have to run off to an airport, grab my baby, and go to Miami. So I wanted to be here because impact is important, right? Bringing it back to that conversation, it really is important to show up. It's important to be aligned with people that are meaningful to you. And that you can, change the world together, right? I'm like all for it. Like this competitive crap, we got to stop that, right? That's why I love Heather for really stepping up to the plate and being like, I want to create space for like women that I really admire in the industry, or that I feel like are powerhouses, and let's do this together. And all the ones that stepped up are clearly the ones that are not afraid of competition by any means. I don't even think it exists, to be honest with you.
Yeah, totally agree. And not only that, but I mean, just this notion of being unscripted, right? I mean, that's the thing. You guys really stepped up because you're not afraid of being authentically you. You're not afraid of revealing yourself to the world, because at the end of the day, you put everything out there. And really that comes back into the content and the discussion around content, that you're showing up as you each and every day. So something like this isn't going to intimidate you or really put you off to say like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be revealed, or I need to be totally scripted. I need to have the topic or whatever it is ahead of time, right? I mean, I dropped the topic and both of you guys went, whoa, all right, this is what we're talking about today, right? So I think it's really fun that we can go that way. And, we were talking about our brand evolving, but really we as people evolve as we learn and we grow and we shift in our business. And our business has to allow us to really allow to ride that wave and sort of change along with us. And I know my own business personally, I mean, it's changing right now. It's going through quite a shift, and I'm starting to get more online. And I really built my business offline. Most of my clients that I work with on a day-to-day basis, I met them offline, or I met them maybe online, but we talked on the phone, God forbid, right? And that's how we started. And Lord knows, I mean, I'll just kind of randomly leave a voice message for a friend. Actually, Stephanie, it's funny, you sent me a voice message last night, and there's very few people who do that, right? But I do it for two reasons. Number one, I want you to hear that I'm really excited to talk to you. And number two, because it just takes me forever to type out and, whatever, but so it saves me a lot of time. But to have those discussions with people, I know, Stephanie, you're a sales funnel chick, so you do a lot of your stuff digitally and a lot more passive. Mine's very, very active, and I have a lot of discussions, but it's, I only need a few clients to sort of really get me to that level that I want to be. And so I think it's really interesting, that sort of dichotomy of how, we all have these really successful businesses and we're all doing really well and we're all out there into the world, but that we have shifted and evolved in different ways. Because Stephanie, I know you started out with a lot of one-on-one coaching as well, and now you've completely stopped doing that, right?
Yeah, I don't do that at all anymore. Yeah, saying no. I heard something in you. You're like, I only need a few clients. And it's like, because the word no should probably be one of the most used words in your vocabulary. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because you should say yes when it's a hell yes. You should say yes. Absolutely. And then when it's a no, you should say no. And even on the other side, like, even if you have a client that, is really like gung ho, but you're really like, you're not ready for this right now, it's okay to say no to them, and to, because they're going to come back and have so much respect for you. And they'll be like, wow, you were right. I wasn't necessarily ready, but now when I come back, I am ready. Absolutely. So I don't do any one-on-one support anymore at all. But I do like a lot of high touch, high impact group support. So it's a totally different atmosphere. I have, several group programs, but the level of support's entirely different. So in my highest one, there is live support. We're actually going on a yacht this Thursday, which is pretty exciting. So, yeah.
We've been talking about that forever. I know, like, I know that you had brought it up even almost a year ago when we first met, when we first started talking. So that's super.
I was like, this will happen. I set the intentions. it's kind of crazy. Like I just put it out there and then I actually upgraded to a bigger one because I filled the one that I had before. And so it's, the world, the universe works for you when you're really like fully immersed in your power and in your purpose, and things just start showing up. And if you put something out into the world, like I know it sounds like super woo and I'm pretty realistic in most cases, but it works. It totally works. I set the intention. I was like, I'm going to have a yacht. Like I'm going to own one. It's going to be in my life in some capacity. And now I get to bring my like most amazing clients on this experience with me. So I created space for it, and there it is. We're here.
Yeah, I think it's really important that you said you created that space for it. I mean, you didn't just set the attention and just sort of say, universe, drop this on me, right?
I wish, yeah.
You created that, and you, I know that you've been, constantly working towards that, and now it's sort of a reality. And like you said, I mean, I'm sure that there was a lot of hustle involved in filling that first yacht and then upgrading to the second one, and then all of a sudden,
there really wasn't.
But if you work that you've done in building your list and building your audience and building all of these different things, right? I mean, if you kind of look back, there really was quite a bit of work that you put into all of that to allow yourself that space where, because I've seen your posts where you're like, oh, I've got to, we upgraded to a larger yacht. We have a few more spaces left. And then people just sort of hop right on it. And they're like, yeah, I'm in. But there's a lot of you that sort of went into that, and a lot of consistency that's gone.
Yeah, consistency is key for sure. I always show up. No rain, sun, whatever. I'm there. So, and it's in the moment, right? We're sharing things that are personal to our experience. And those are the things that get the most engagement and the most impact and really like strike a chord. So we've been like doing some testing even with like emotional email sequences, and send out like a couple crazy emails. Probably you might have seen them. And it was just about like how I met my daughter's father, and it was really kind of comical, but it was real life. And I got a lot of people that were like unsubscribe, or one person told me you're a disgrace. And I'm like, that's cool. Like she was a farmer. So she wasn't really my ideal client. So like basically what you're doing is you're creating, you're making a super hot impact or super cold. Like they love you or they hate you. And either way, that's okay, because I would rather have somebody know how they feel about me than I'm just being forgotten. Right.
Yeah.
So use your voice. It's like, it's our best gift in whatever capacity that works for you. Just show up. I say, show up till you blow up.
And I love what you just said about the personal stuff, because I remember there's a little stretch there where I started asking people like what most resonated for you about connecting for a call and everything. And the funniest thing is I was putting my heart and my soul into this like amazing sales training, and people were coming back and they're like, oh, I saw the picture of you with your kid and you guys look like you're so happy. And like, that was just a theme. And I've noticed that like content doesn't have to be like hard structured stuff or tips. Content is also sharing who you are. People want to get to know you and know your experience. And so I like to plug in what I'm doing with my family, because that is like, they're not separate. Like you don't have your family and your life and your business in like little compartments. Just be yourself thoroughly, and your ideal clients will show up. And I love what you just said about like, I don't want to call them haters, but really if you don't have somebody saying like, I don't love what you're doing and I want to unsubscribe, well, then you're not being strong in your voice.
Yeah, I do love that. And I love that notion, because I used to hide. I used to be really afraid to put myself out there, right? Because I was subjected to bullying, and I had PTSD as a result of it. And I went through a couple of years of therapy as a result of it. And when I showed back up online, like when I started really pushing this business online, it had been online in some other businesses, but it wasn't me as a brand, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, like my clothing company was just that. It was clothing, right? And so you're putting the pieces, the articles of clothing out there, and people might love or hate those, but who cares? It's a piece of clothing, right? It's not you. It's not, your persona that they're going after. And I've had some really nasty things over the past couple months, even just with people bringing up shit that had kind of happened before, right? And one of the big things is my voice. And I worked in corporate, and I had one of the execs there basically say to me, you can never sit at a table with me unless you change your voice, because I just can't stand the sound of it. And I was like, oh, and so I went to I went to all these different things to try to change my voice. and sort of came to the conclusion that that just couldn't be done, right? I can't change the way I sound. My mom still sounds like this, you know. If you get us on the phone, you can't tell who is who. And I'm like, this is never going to change. And I had to show up again. I did a video ad, and some guy was like, you know, he just commented something around, oh, your voice is so annoying. You sound so stuck up. And I was like, oh, and that just hit, right? It just hit. And you were like, oh, that just brings you back to this place. But like Stephanie said, and like Laura said here, you know, really have to step back and say, well, not my tribe. I mean, clearly you're not going to be working with me where our work is having conversations, having deep and powerful conversations where we can be on the phone for 2 hours at a time. Clearly you're not going to want to do that. So goodbye, block, delete, you know, on your way out. And, you know, it's a filter. It's great, but it's something that you have to sort of build up the skin as you sort of get into the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's unfortunately, I see it happen a lot. It is unfortunate. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with inner shit that's going on in that other person's life, and they need a sounding board and they need a place to take it out on. What right does somebody have to say, I don't like your voice? Like, what meaning does that have to anything? Just don't listen to me.
Yeah.
Hey, get off of it. Like, what is that about? I personally don't quite understand why that has to happen in this industry. I think it's sad that it has to be that way, but a lot of people do struggle with that. And you're right. You need to build up a thick skin. You need to be like, I know who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I know that I'm not perfect. We're all human, but I do my best every single day. And I'm certainly not going to change my voice or my business or my life or my, you know, the relationship that I have with my family because somebody doesn't agree with it. Right. Absolutely. So just like, keep your eye on the prize is like my biggest piece of advice. Like, you were born to do something amazing. Every single person that's here with us, everybody online, every single person that I get to connect with on a regular basis, they have brilliance in them. And like, focusing on that. Who gives a shit about the rest of it? And all those other people that are not going to support you. Bye. Like, it's not a big deal, you know?
I love that you said that, because I think also I have a client who, when we first connected, she's like, ooh, I started myself to twist. She's like, you triggered me. Sorry. Hold on, I'm gonna, oh, you can hear me twice.
Oh, headphones.
Here. Let me see.
I hear like people like falling down
when you're live, right? It just goes all like crazy. So, yeah.
Okay, is that any better? No.
No better for you. You might have to get out and then
jump out.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Is it okay? No.
Yeah.
It's echoing.
Yours is echoing now too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that's so weird. We were perfectly fine up until this point, so that's fun. That's the benefit of doing this live. So maybe if you dump out, come back in, that should do it.
Okay, I'll try that.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm just going to chill here now and talk to all of you. So, I mean, you know, I think it's really cool that, hey, Laura, you're back. Ding dong. The ding dong always freaks me out. Is that better for you? Stephanie was having the same issue.
Was she? Yeah. It's funny. It's doing it again.
Still doing it again. Oh no. Okay. Well.
My nope, doesn't do that. Oh, okay. This is real life.
This is real life. This is always the fun that you get when you're trying to, you know, do something. Hi, Stephanie. Are you still getting an echo too? Laura dumped and she's still getting one.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, shoot. Okay. Well, that's okay. You know what, guys? We're at about the 35 or so minute mark. So I would say let's wrap it up. We were planning to go to about 40 minutes, but let's wrap it up anyways. I know we had some really great discussion today and some really great points. And next week we've got Regan Hillyer on. So that'll be a super fun show. So for those of you watching, 9 a.m. again next Tuesday, we'll have Regan on. And then we will probably be changing the time of the show kind of moving forward after that, accompanying our first couple guests and then sort of moving forward. So thank you guys so much for being here. And so you guys can kind of hear yourself back now. It's the effort of live technology. But for those of you who want to hear more, we will have the recording up at monumentalmillionaire.com. So you can learn more about Laura, you can learn more about Stephanie, you can learn more about myself there. All of our bios, our links to all of our stuff is up there. And we'll have this recording up for all of you to watch. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. All right.